Threading a needle for hand sewing is one of those basic skills that can be so frustrating, and I'm going to focus on needles and thread that you would use for hand embroidery because that is our specialty. The first thing you're going to need is a good sharp pair of scissors because you're going to want to snip the thread so that you don't have a frayed end. And then the next thing that I do is I actually have taken this and I put the thread in my mouth and bit it between my teeth, my front teeth, and really flattened it down because now the shape of the thread is going to be more of a match for the shape of the eye of the needle. This is a pearl cotton and I've got a milliner's needle. So now that I'm started to be set up for success, what I want to do is keep in mind that steadiness and a good eye are what we need. And some of us, that's where the struggle comes in. So give yourself good light, and if you can, have just a white sheet of paper or a light piece of fabric, something that you can look at. Make sure that you can really see the eye of the needle and see where you're headed. Because if you can't see the opening, you can't really get the thread through it as easily. And use your offhand. In this case, my right hand's my non-dominant hand, and I have better accuracy with my left hand. So my right hand's going to be kind of just a little pedestal, a kickstand to lean my left hand against. So I'm really going to use both hands and just kind of get the needle and thread going together. I can't take a big running start at it and have a bunch of thread hanging out and just kind of generally aim it toward the needle. I want to have the tiniest amount of thread, like 1/8 of an inch, sticking out from between the fingers of my dominant hand so that then I can rest that hand against the fingers of the other hand and just pop it right in there every time. And then once I get it in, it only has to be in just a teeny bit. Then I can pull it down the rest of the way and get a good secure tail. Now, you'll find a lot of different styles of needle threaders on the market, and there's nothing wrong with using needle threader. If people didn't use needle threaders, there wouldn't be so many of them on the market. They all work basically the same way, which is that there's either a loop or a hook that goes through the eye of the needle. And once that's through, the idea is that this is a larger loop than the eye of the needle, so I can more easily put my thread through the loop and then pull the whole thing through. And I've got it, once I get the whole tail of the thread through, then I'm good to go. Now, some of these have a hook, and so just keep in mind that, if you have something like this one, which is fine, but notice that the hook is really tiny, and it's easy to get it through the needle, but if I have something like this is a size 8 pearl cotton, it may tend kind of to slip off the hook. And if I had anything larger than a size 8 pearl cotton, it would be a bit of a struggle to get it to go through, or to get it to continue to hold on to it. So I might want something with a little bit of a larger hook. You can immediately see the downside if you have a hook that's too large and it doesn't fit through the eye of the needle, then again, you've got a problem. But fortunately, this one has 2 sides to it, so I can still get this one through. But you can see all of these. There's a pluses and minuses to all of them. Let's see how that one goes. Yep, see that hooked her through a little bit more easily than the one with the tiny hook. But sometimes you've got a smaller needle and you need the one with the tiny hook. And I have tried out so many different kinds of needle threaders just because I'm interested in the subject. I'm also just extremely hard on my equipment, and I've broken a very large number of needle threaders. So I also tried these. Clover makes one and Bowen makes the other. And these are little contraptions. They're like a little machine. You can put the needle in and feed the thread through something in the right place, and then you just press it down. It has this little mechanism where it automatically threads the needle for you, no stress, except that when you read the back of the packages, it's got the do's and don'ts, and it tells you it doesn't work for a circular eye needle or an embroidery needle. It doesn't work for a chenille needle, tapestry needle. So they're not useful for the kind of embroidery that I'm doing. So I wouldn't go out and buy one of those for this purpose, but you can use it for, probably a quilting needle or a sharp or something like that. So I hope that this encourages you, that if you're feeling, bad about why is it so difficult for you to thread a needle, it's because there really is a trick to it. And it's like anything else. It's a skill that you can practice and get better at.